when we're setting up the machine, I would also like to thank Kyoto University and Professor Ono for inviting me. It has been really fascinating, and I've heard some really wonderful stories. Okay, I would like also to be on the receiving end of $46 million endowment. Unfortunately, it didn't happen to me. So I want to add my story about Taiwan to this wonderful collection. It's probably not as fascinating as the Singaporean story, but I think it's not as sad as the Korean one. So we're sort of in the middle. My name is Jieh Hsiang in the reverse order. And as you can see, I'm actually a professor in computer science, so please don't ask me any questions about biology or paleontology or what have you, because I don't know anything. But I want to talk about how we got our museum, was a museum group. First of all, a little bit history about our university. Taiwan was ceded to Japan by China in 1895, and so on the year 1928, the Japanese colonial government established the Taihoku Imperial University at Taipei, which became the National Taiwan University after Taiwan was returned to the Chinese rule. So where did we get our collections? First of all, when the Japanese first went to Taiwan, they tried to use the Western scientific way, because they realized that there was so little that they knew about the island. So they did a very comprehensive survey of almost everything. Okay, the people, the plants, the animals, almost everything. And the specimens were very well kept. Okay, and furthermore, as we all know, Japan at the time had a bigger ambition, so they wanted to incorporate the rest of Southeast China, Asia, into its empire. So the university in Taiwan became part of their Southern Forward plan. Okay, so they also did a lot of surveys on Southeast Asia, and our university was part of their repository. So a lot of things from Southeast Asia were also kept in our university. And the collection of specimens continued after the university became NTU. And also there were a lot of excavations, archaeological excavations since 1945. The earlier ones were almost exclusively done by the faculty of NTU. So a lot of those things were also kept at NTU. So here's a sort of small sampling of the collections. Okay, we have the earliest and I think that the most comprehensive collections of artifacts of the Australasians, which are the original Taiwanese. And we also have a lot archaeological records and artifacts and specimens. We have thousands of type specimens, okay, of flora, fauna, insects, and other stuff. But strangely enough, we have about 2 million specimens, but no museums, okay. There was several reasons why that's the case. I think one of the most important ones is that the academic units were just fiercely independent, which is probably true in all universities, okay? They want to use their collections for education and research, and there's no way you can get them out of their grip. In some cases, out of their offices. So there were talks about having museums, but it never became reality. Some departments have small exhibition rooms, okay? Well, I should say cases, which were usually sort of hallways, okay? But no real museums. And another problem is that museums are really expensive to build. Okay, so as I said, $46 million is not a bad thing. So there was no museums. So let me jump to something different. In 1996, NTU started to work on digital archives. Okay, it was really a collaboration among. At the beginning, it was a collaborative work among computer scientists like myself and library scientists and anthropologists and historians. I think we did a fairly good job. Okay, so 2 years later, we managed to convince the National Science Council, which is the major funding agency in Taiwan, to start this digital museums program, which eventually became the well-known National Digital Archives program, which is mainly run by the Academia Sinica, but NTU has been a very instrumental participant, and in fact, the only university in that program since its very beginning. There's one lesser-known program called the National Repository of Cultural Heritage, which is actually also very important. That was run by the Council for Cultural Affairs, and we also participated very heavily. Then NDAP eventually became the last one because e-learning was added. Okay, TALDAP will end at the end of this year. As I said, the original members were people in anthropology, university, the library, computer science, and library science. And as we started to get involved in NDAP, we invited the faculty members from the Ecology and Evolutionary Biology Institute, who were in charge of the flora and fauna collections, and the Department of Entomology, who take care of the insects, and geosciences, who owns the geospecimens. So we started to digitize them. And eventually, the Department of Physics and the College of Medicine also joined. So the digitization effort is currently coordinated by my center, which is called the Research Center for Digital Humanities. And we have over 160,000 metadata records, okay, all with high quality images and many with full text, which can be accessed. Our website attracts about over 1 million visits every month. So in addition to those things at the center, we also did other digitization work, mainly archives. Okay, but most of them are sort of national level archives. In other words, we don't do any of the university documents. So we have about 3 million metadata records and lots and lots of images and full text. So I also invite you to visit our website. What's special about our work is that we really emphasize on system building. Okay, in other words, we build systems which I think are user-centered and especially emphasize on being used by researchers. Okay, so in other words, well, when people talk about systems, they talk about how they can do search, but to us, search is the most basic function. Okay, what researchers need is to find the context, the relationships among the documents that they have found, which is what we emphasize on. But going back to the museum-related things, so when we do our digital archives, so it's the basic, we started out from this digitization, okay, and that we move into the dissemination of these archives, and we are really considering 3 aspects. Okay, one is of course education, how to make them accessible to students and the public, and for research. Okay, but in Taiwan, there's also something strange. In other words, we are supposed to stimulate content industry, which I don't think we have done a good job. Okay, but we tried. One of the more interesting experiments is that we have invited a company that makes very good single malt scotch, and we have provided images, including one very good type specimen to be put on their label. Okay, so we have this set of 4 nice, beautiful bottles of scotch, which it's targeted for the Taiwanese markets, which I thought was quite nice. The contents in the bottles is also pretty good, which I had the pleasure to sample on more than one occasion. Anyway, if you ever come to Taiwan, I'll see if I have any left. Okay. So here's some samples of our work. Our historical archives as I emphasized, we don't do the university level things. Okay, we do important historical documents, and the university librarian has this label TAI, which is we also did a lot. Entomology, rocks and minerals, anthropology, we did a lot of those. We have a large collection of archaeological things which we haven't done yet, because the archaeologists in Taiwan are a strange species, and I don't know how to deal with them yet. Okay, so you can probably enlighten me on that. Zoology, physics, and we also have some very nice instruments. Incidentally, I think the first nuclear reactor, the first Asian nuclear reactor, a lot of people think that it's done by the Kyoto University, but to my knowledge, it's not. It was the first successful experiment was at Taihoku University. Once it's done, the whole thing was disassembled and moved to Kyoto, if I'm correct. Okay, so that's why we hate you so much. Just kidding. So you know, I'll not bore you with these things, but of course we have all these SOPs for different types of work, and that's the website that I mentioned. We also use our archives in exhibitions, and to develop educational material, and media things. For example, for birds, we have, you know, drawings, specimens, a video, and sound. Okay, so which is and also, you know, geographical distribution, which is nice. And of course, we do virtual reality like everybody else. Here's something which is sort of interesting. We did what we call bird DJ, which is very popular among children. Okay, so you can compose the bird calls and beats, and have this karaoke effect. Okay, which is kind of cute. We have some sort of unexpected outcome. Okay, which first of all, in our project, we engaged almost all the major units with these collections. Okay, and the collaboration has gone on extremely well. Okay, actually much to our surprise. People started to, people from very different disciplines started to talk to each other and try to make things work. And we also obtained much better understanding of the scope and depth of the collections. One example is that when we started doing work with anthropology, very much to our surprise that they actually didn't really know what they had. Okay, so in some sense they were actually doing field work within their department as we were digitizing. So they would come back to us and really excited and say, "Oh, we just found another interesting collection. Okay, so it's called what? Departmental Archaeology. I don't know. So that was really very important. Okay, because as I will mention later, we 3 years ago we started to have international collaboration. Okay, one reason why we could start was actually because we finally had a good understanding of our own collections. So we actually started to know what we were missing. Okay, and furthermore, finally the university, through our websites, the university and the communities started to appreciate the importance of what we have to offer, and to make things more accessible. So an opportunity knock in 2004. I was asked by the president to build a gallery of university history. Okay, which was very, very difficult at the time, but we managed to do it within less than a year, and within which we added a section to the physical collections, okay, of the specimens. At about that time, we started to talk about the possibility of having a real museum, okay? But we realized that it was really quite difficult because of the budget problem. So we had the idea that why don't we pattern ourselves after Smithsonian and have a museum group instead of one single museum. So here's some images of our university history gallery, which is run by Miss Zhang Ming. She's sitting there. So there are some advantages with having a museum group instead of a museum. Well, there are a lot of disadvantages, of course. Okay. First of all, the academic units keep their autonomy, which in our case is very important. And you don't need to spend a lot of money building a central museum. Okay. And we also integrate campus walks with a museum exhibition. So you can have all these natural and history blended. And we also stimulate some healthy competition among the museums. Okay, so that they can attract collaboration and visitors. So in 2007, it was finally inaugurated, and the museum group now has 10 museums. There are a gallery, anthropology, geospecies and cottage, physics, agriculture exhibition hall, zoology, insectarian, herbarium, university archives, and medical humanities, and totaling about 3 million items. Okay, but that's cheating a little bit because we're adding the archives to the number. So because of time, I will skip some of them. So here's our campus, and here's where they are located. Here's a better, more pleasant view. I think during these past few years, we have really started to integrate things. Okay, in other words, people are talking to each other. They were doing research exhibitions together. And we also have a lot of outreach programs, and we engage communities. But I want to spend 1 minute to talk about international collaboration, because we have a purpose, a very simple purpose. Okay, we want to get Taiwan-related things back to Taiwan. of course, you can't do that physically, but digitally you can. Okay. So botany, we have collaborated with Tokyo, Kyoto, and another museum in Japan, and Pennsylvania Academy of Sciences. They all have important a collection of plant specimens of Taiwan. In anthropology, we engaged with the British Museum and Museum of Natural History at New York City and Penn Museum. Among the 6 million items of a British museum, there's a grand total of about 400 about Taiwan. Okay, and they won't get to those 400 in 100 years. Okay, I will stop. So they were actually very happy that we go in there and digitize and catalog those things for them. So I think it's a very successful strategy. And we have also done archives with Harvard, McGill, and Xiamen University. And we have done exhibitions with Tokyo, which Professor Terada talked about yesterday. So I think that the model has worked, okay, so far, and I think it's something that other universities can think a little bit about. Sorry for going over time. Thank you very much.